Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Please join as we sing together, Blue Boat Home.
Oh, below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my trial heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the stormy sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in a beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to virtual worship at First Unitarian Church of Portland, where our mission is to nurture the individual spirit and to build the beloved community. So good to be with all of you again this morning. Today and in the coming week, we will mark Earth Day. In fact, this coming Wednesday is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. This global pandemic has brought into relief just how connected we all are to each other and to the earth. To mark this important time in our community and in our world, we'll hear a number of voices today. In the slides leading into the service this morning, you saw images of the children in our learning community dressed as some of their favorite animals, our own virtual procession of the species. In this service, we'll hear Chief Jake Swamp offer words of gratitude from the Native American tradition. We'll hear from one of our youth, Ilex reflect on this time of climate crisis. And Reverend Bill will offer prayers for the earth and for her people. And our Community for Earth group invites us to mark this Earth Day. They invite us all to join them and others around the world for 72 hours of live stream programming, the local youth-led Portland Climate Justice Rally and Teach-In, and other actions. You can learn more at 350pdx.org, 350pdx.org. A couple other notes as we gather this day. I'd like to say a special welcome to those of you who have found our community in these recent weeks and months and who would like to know more about First Unitarian and Unitarian Universalism. I'll be offering an introduction to this faith this afternoon at 2 o'clock on Zoom. You can find the link on the church website, firstunitarianportland.org. And finally, as we begin our service today, we take a moment now to hold up the concerns of our community life together. We have no spoken concerns to name today, but let's join together now for a moment of silence where we can name in our hearts all the intentions we bring as we gather in community today. Prayers for our lives, prayers for our community, prayers for this good green earth. Let's be together now for a moment of silence. Reverend Bill will light our chalice here on our chancel this morning. If you have a chalice at home with you, I invite you to light it now and join in these chalice lighting words. We are Unitarian Universalists. We light this chalice in faith, in hope, and in love.
Search of the answers. Look for God in life on distant planets. Have your faith in the ever after, while each of us holds inside the map to the labyrinth. And heaven's here on earth. The spirit, the collective conscience. We create the pain and the suffering and the beauty in this world. Heaven's here on earth. In our faith in humankind, in our respect for what is earthly, in our unfaltering belief in peace and love and understanding. I've seen it with angels wearing the disguise of ordinary people leading ordinary lives filled with love and compassion, forgiveness and sacrifice. Heaven's in our hearts, in our faith in humankind, in our respect for what is earthly, in our unfaltering belief in peace and love and understanding. Look around, believe in what you see. The kingdom is at hand, the promised land is at your feet. We can become what we aspire to be. if heaven's here on earth, and if we have faith in humankind and respect for what is earthly, and an unfaltering belief that truth is divinity, and heaven's here on earth. I've seen spirits, I've met angels, I've touched creations, beautiful and wondrous. I've been places where I question all I think I know, but I believe this could be heaven. We are born inside the gates with the power to create life and to take it away. And the world is a temple, the world is our church. Heaven's here on earth. If we have faith in humankind and respect for what is earthly, and an unfaltering belief, then peace and love and understanding, this could be heaven here on earth.
We honor the indigenous peoples on whose ancestral land we all live and on which First Unitarian Church is built. We recognize the Multnomah, Clackamas, Clowiwalla, and Cascades bands of Chinookan peoples, and the Tualatin Band of Kalapuya. These peoples were forcibly removed from their homelands to the Grand Ronde Indian Reservation. Their descendants live today as members of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. We are here because of the sacrifices forced upon them. We honor their legacy and the descendants who carry on tribal traditions for present and for future generations. We live and we gather on holy ground. Come now and let us worship together. I invite you to join us in singing "For the Beauty of the Earth."
From our birth over and
invite you to join now in a unison reading entitled Spirit That Hears Each of Us. Spirit that hears each of us, hears all that is, listens, hears us out, inspire us now. Our own pulse beats in every stranger's throat, and also there within the flowered ground beneath our feet, and teach us to listen. We can hear it in water, in wood, and even in stone. We are earth of this earth, and we are bone of its bone. This is a prayer we sing, for we have forgotten this, and so the earth is perishing. Please join us now in singing our doxology, Spirit of Life.
Good morning. We have a story for all ages to offer called Giving Thanks, a Native American Good Morning Message. Chief Jake Swamp tells us that the words are based on the Thanksgiving Address, which is an ancient message of peace and appreciation for Mother Earth and all of her inhabitants. These words of thanks come to us from the native people known as the Haudenosaunee, also known as the Iroquois, or Six Nations. The people of the Six Nations are from upstate New York and Canada. These words are still spoken at ceremonial and governmental gatherings held by the Six Nations. Children, too, are taught to greet the world each morning by saying thank you to all living beings. They learn that according to Native American tradition, people everywhere are embraced as family. Our diversity, like all the wonders of nature, is truly a gift for which to be thankful. What are the gifts from nature that you are most grateful for? How can you express gratitude and care for all of these gifts? These are questions to think about after listening. You'll hear Chief Jake Swamp read his book in English and his native Kanien'kehá:ka, or Mohawk language. And now I'd like to share with you Giving Thanks, a Native American Good Morning Message.
To be a human being is an honor, and we offer thanksgiving for all the gifts of life. Agwego ungwe soa, andi dawat kawe ne kanuharaduntra. Mother Earth, we thank you for giving us everything we need. Dietinuhorado ne yetinistaha uhunja. Thank you, deep blue waters around Mother Earth, for you are the force that takes thirst away from all living things. Dia tinu horado ne onega sunha. We give thanks to green grasses that feel so good against our bare feet, for the cool beauty you bring to Mother Earth's floor. Dia tinu horado ne ohunde sunha. Thank you, good foods from Mother Earth, our life sustainers, for making us happy when we are hungry. Dia tinu horado ne kakwa sunha. Fruits and berries, we thank you for your color and sweetness. Dia tinu horado ne kahi sunha. We are all thankful to good medicine herbs for healing us when we are sick. Dia tinu horado ne onu kwa sunha. Thank you, all the animals in the world, for keeping our precious forests clean. Dia tinu horado ne gudilio. All the trees in the world, we are thankful for the shade and warmth you give us. Dia tinu horado ne karunda sunha. Thank you, all the birds in the world, for singing your beautiful songs for all to enjoy. Dia tinu horado ne ojito hogunha. We give thanks to you, gentle four winds, for bringing clean air for us to breathe from the four directions. Dia tinu horado ne kayeri ni kawerage. Thank you, Grandfather Thunder Beings, for bringing rains to help all living things grow. Dia tinu horado ne radiweras. Elder Brother Sun, we send thanks for shining your light and warming Mother Earth. Da chido ano horado, ne chido wachi a karakwa. Thank you, Grandmother Moon, for growing full every month to light the darkness for children and sparkling waters. Dia tinu horado ne asunta ne ka karakwa. We give you thanks, twinkling stars, for making the night sky so beautiful and for sprinkling morning dewdrops on the plants. Dia tinu horado ne ojista no kwa sunha. Spirit protectors of our past and present, we thank you for showing us ways to live in peace and harmony with one another. Dia tinu horado ne kayeri niugwetake. And most of all, thank you, Great Spirit, for giving us all these wonderful gifts so we will be happy and healthy every day and every night. Don't you don't horado, ne songoya piso.
To join us in our response. Join us in singing, O Beautiful Gaia.
Good morning. I'm Ilex. I've been a member of this church ever since I was in middle school in the OWL program, and although it isn't the youth service today, I have decided to present my homily because I think it has to do with the earth and some of the things that hopefully we'll be able to reflect on as a community today. As a young person in the 21st century, I have never lived on a truly healthy planet. And every year I notice further change in the arrival of the seasons and in the distribution of species in the biomes I call home. These changes have troubled me for a long time, but after I entered the really overwhelming environment of high school, my fear became too much for me to handle, and I was angry at politicians, CEOs, and celebrities for not doing more to end climate destruction. But I was also mad at myself. Between school, clubs, and writing, I had no time left to help fight this injustice, and my hypocrisy weighed on me heavily. Soon I fell into a deep depression. During this time, I rediscovered, almost by chance, some of my favorite poets, including Walt Whitman and Ralph Waldo Emerson. Their depictions of nature and exploration made me nostalgic for the comfort I had once enjoyed in the outdoors. And through these poems, I also identified something key to transcendentalism and to the Unitarian faith, which is simply the notion that people are fundamentally good and exist in tandem with nature. The corruptibility of human goodness by greed and apathy doesn't negate our ability to do good. Rather, the ability to recognize these weaknesses presents a clear path to repair our mistakes. And this optimistic outlook changed the way that I viewed climate change, from the result of human behavior to the result of humanity's disconnect from the natural world. I began participating in events to promote climate legislation, including several marches, and I also worked 3 weeks at outdoor school, teaching 6th graders about the structure of ecosystems and their place within them. I continued taking natural science classes and studying topics such as organic soil rehabilitation, microplastic removal, humane beekeeping strategies, and green energy. Over the next 4 years, I hope to learn as much as I can about conserving our planet's resources and being a steward of the earth. The people I see already doing this work are proof to me of what the Transcendentalists believed, that people want to do good. The community here at First Unitarian, along with the voices of Unitarian leaders from all times and places, have supported me in my journey to learn what doing good means for me. As an adult, I plan to work in conservation, protecting vulnerable sites and species for the enjoyment of everyone, and I also hope to establish a program that leases hives of native bees to farmers for safer, more integrated pollination practices. Right now, I'm 17. And despite my many plans, I can't accurately predict what the future will hold. What I'm certain of is that, regardless of where I am or what else my life entails, caring for the environment and the people I share it with will always be important to me. The understanding that people are inherently connected to our environment and the members of our communities promotes stewardship not as a noble choice, but as a central element of human existence. It is not a fight against our nature to be caretakers of the earth, but a fundamental part of our nature, and our ability to honor the earth and one another collectively has become the cornerstone of my faith and what being Unitarian means to me. I am grateful to all of you in this church for giving me support and affirming these beliefs. The good you do is stronger than apathy or despair, and with luck, our resilience can overcome even the most dramatic of challenges. I want to end this with a poem by Walt Whitman that talks about some of what I spoke about today, and I particularly like it because it addresses the youth and what Whitman believed young people could do to help improve the world back in his time, things that I think will help us today in terms of staying in connection with nature and building a better society. But more in you than these, lands of the western shore, these, but the means, the implements, the standing ground. I see in you, certain to come, the promise of thousands of years, till now deferred, promised to be fulfilled, our common kind, the race, the new society at last, proportionate to nature. In man of you, more than your mountain peaks or stalwart trees imperial, in woman more, far more than all your gold or vines, or even vital air. Fresh come, to a new world indeed, yet long prepared, I see the genius of the modern, child of the real and ideal, clearing the ground for broad humanity, the true America, heir of the past so grand to build a grander future. And that's from Book 14 of Leaves of Grass. I would like to thank you all for tuning in today and connecting with this community even while we have to be apart. It's something that gives me a lot of hope, and part of the reason why I am so happy to be able to be presenting my homily to this community, and because of our ability to stick together, and because of our ability to help create a beloved community even when we are unable to see one another in person. So thank you very much, and take care. Wash your hands.
Thank you, Ilex. It is a commitment and privilege for us as a congregation to share our offerings with the larger community. For this month of April, we're sharing our plate with our community partner, Bien Estar, which provides low-quality, low-income rental housing and programs for farm workers and their families. Farm workers are now and have always been the foundation of our food systems. In this health crisis, the conditions under which they and other essential service providers work and live put them at high risk. Many farm workers may also be undocumented, which places them at even more risk since they are being excluded from public systems of emergency support. You can give through the QR code on your screen. You can give through the Donate Now button on Boxcast. Thank you for your generosity as we live through these times. We'll now receive our offering.
To be a human being is an honor, Chief Jake Swamp spoke the traditional Haudenosaunee morning prayer. We offer thanks for all the gifts of life. That prayer begins and ends with gratitude. To be a human being is an honor, not an entitlement. An honor and a privilege that comes with a responsibility to recognize all that we have been given, all that we receive, all that we rely on, because we are bound together in an inescapable garment of destiny. to recognize all that we have been given and to find a way to live that honors and respects and preserves this creation of which we are a part, but only a part. To begin each day with thanks. The wisdom of the Iroquois prayer is that it assumes connection, our connection to one another and our connection to Mother Earth, our connection to creation. That morning prayer assumes that we know that we have not forgotten the connection in which we live, not become divorced from the knowledge of who we are, Earth's children. And it is a reminder that we do not stand somehow independent and apart. We are bound together, all born of the earth, of Gaia, who is always calling us home. All part of a process, not a fixed tableau. Change is always taking place, but we are all part of a process of creation, of change, that is not moving towards some predetermined end, but a process of change shaped, at least in part, by how we, who are just one part of that creation, a process of creation shaped, at least in part, by how we choose to live. To be human is an honor and a privilege. Happy Earth Day. I'm a bit early. Earth Day is Wednesday, but still, happy Earth Day. 50 years ago, on April 22nd, 1970, 20 million Americans, 10% of the U.S. population then, took to the streets to protest environmental ignorance and to demand a new way forward for our planet. That day launched what we now know as the modern environmental justice movement. And success followed. Legislation, the Clean Air and Clean Water Acts, the Endangered Species Act. The progress was not enough, not fast enough, but progress it was. And concern for the earth and questions about the sustainability of our human way of life gradually became a part of what religious folks did and do. Now, there's always been pushback, but that pushback in the last few years has been so much more effective than we ever thought possible. Emission standards rolled back, wilderness open to drilling, the Keystone Pipeline in operation again despite the leaks. Just last week, regulations on emissions of mercury from fossil fuel-fired plants relaxed again. And we know that these rollbacks are ultimately self-destructive, that they are ultimately bankrupt. And I mean bankrupt, literally, as oil prices plummet and supplies threaten to overfill every reservoir, as the engine of demand slows. It is crystal clear that we have created a fragile prosperity dependent on despoiling the earth that is our home. It should be clear to all now that what we knew as normal is bankrupt financially. But far more important for us, it is bankrupt spiritually, requiring belief in the fiction of our independence and the denial of the truth of our reliance on the earth and all that we receive from her. Denial of the truth of our reliance on all those essential workers who are now most at risk. Are we surprised that it is Black and brown and immigrant communities that pay the greatest price? If the liberal community has learned nothing else in 50 years of reflection and study on the issue of race, surely that cannot be a surprise. But even with reactionary leadership at the national level, reversing progress that we thought had been solidly made, we liberal religious folks celebrate the energy and the commitment of young leaders like Ilex, who preached earlier that environmental justice is not some noble choice, some self-sacrifice, but the only sustainable choice, because we are indeed part of nature. Activist Greta Thunberg said it powerfully, "How dare you? How dare you pretend that climate change can be solved with business as usual?" But Thunberg has had to self-isolate after becoming symptomatic for COVID-19. She couldn't be tested like so very many of the rest of us here. Now, she's largely recovered, but she had to stop traveling, even by sailboat. The world changed just weeks ago. So many assumptions overturned. Both the fragility of life and the operation of privilege were spotlighted with such clarity. What do these days ask us to see? What do they ask us to know? For what should we be praying on this Earth Day? Reverend Galen Gingrich, the minister at All Souls Church in Manhattan, writes, "The challenge is to find a middle distance between an individual quest for freedom that leaves each of us isolated and an authoritarian insistence on certainty that leaves us all in bondage. We need a way of being religious that sets us free but leaves us whole. The hallmark," he says, "of this way of being religious is the discipline of gratitude." A way of being religious that sets us free but leaves us whole. It is wholeness, I believe, for which we should pray this Earth Day. I was so struck by this image from New Delhi, India. It shows the famous India Gate last October on the left and last week on the right. Same camera, same distance, same settings. What a difference. One message to take from this image is the dramatic despoiling of our atmosphere and our water and our land that we have come to accept as normal. You can hardly see the arch in the left-hand image. And that was accepted, the price of progress, one of the unfortunate perhaps, but inevitable byproducts of prosperity. How sad, how tragic. It is a message that calls for lamentation. But that's not the only message we can find in this image, because it has been only weeks of fewer cars and mopeds, just a few weeks of less coal being burned, just a few weeks, and the skies have cleared. The gate can be seen. In northeast India, the large indigenous Unitarian community there can see the Himalayas, about which their hymns sing, but which they have not seen in person in years. They can see the mountains again. Would it be stretching the metaphor too far to say that we can see through the gate a path toward health and wholeness, a path toward rejuvenation, a path toward honest gratitude? We have allowed the earth to rest a bit for just weeks, and we can see the sky again. The message that I want us to find is that it is not too late, that recovery is not impossible, that we can reclaim a different spirit as we return to whatever normal will become, that we can remember gratitude and also find hope if we choose a new normal that does not mistake growth for happiness, a new normal that does not protect the privileges of a few of us at the expense of so many of us, a new normal in which past injustice is not allowed to replicate and might even be repaired, a new normal in which human persons, not corporate persons, are most important, a new normal in which we might, with open hearts, begin our days with gratitude. To be a human being is an honor. We give thanks for all the gifts of life, and we promise to create a new normal in which our children and our children's children can thrive. As we celebrate this 50th anniversary of Earth Day, the task we must accept is to create a new normal in which both the earth and all of her peoples can thrive. Will you pray with me now? Make yourself comfortable. There is a great deal that we need to hold on this day. Spirit of life and of love, Spirit of the earth, of Gaia, of connection and of hope, we hold first the victims of this virus, the thousands of families grieving losses, those still struggling for breath, those recovering, waiting for strength to return. We hold the essential laborers among us, those who labor for so little, but without whose labor we would perish, those who cannot stay at home. We hold all those who fear, those without work now or savings, those in the food bank lines, those in high-risk groups, those without secure retirement, and those whose retirement has just become less secure. We hold our leaders, all of our elected leaders, and pray that they may not forget that they serve the common good. And as we celebrate Earth Day for a 50th time, we hold Gaia, our mother, with clarified appreciation and deepened commitment and unending gratitude for all we receive. We look with reverence at the power of recovery the earth makes plain. We hold all of these intentions on this day. We offer our presence in prayer, and we pray to sustain our awareness, to not allow the blinders of the normal we have accepted to shield our eyes from the truth that is being revealed to us in these COVID days. We hold all of these intentions, and we join our hearts with those who demand that hope is possible. We align ourselves with the words of youth poet laureate Amanda Gorman. Her video, filmed at the Los Angeles Public Library, should be required viewing for us all. The question isn't if, but how we will weather this unknown together, she wrote. As one, we will defeat both despair and disease. In this loss, we will learn to love. In this chaos, we will discern clarity. In our suffering, we must find solidarity. Our grief can give us back our gratitude and show us how to find hope if we lose it. Do not give in to the pain. Give it purpose. Use it. Spirit of life, help us listen. Help us hear. Help us hope. Great Spirit, we pray for the earth and for all her peoples, but we know that we are the ones we need to pray for most, that it is our hearts that need to be healed, made whole. Spirit of love, be with us, within us, among us. Help us begin with gratitude that is informed by our grief, but is not limited to it. Help us sustain both courage and clarity. May we remember always that our task is to build a community that we can with pride call beloved, a community in which love is real and justice, to quote the prophet, flows down like waters. On this anniversary of Earth Day, hear our prayers for the earth and for all her peoples. Amen. I invite us now to sing together, "For the Earth Forever Turning." May this be a day when we remember all the ways that we are connected. May we bend away the blinders of the normal, at least a little, and allow ourselves to glimpse more of the truth, and find our hope resting firmly on gratitude for the earth and for all of her peoples, and the possibilities for wholeness that we can create together. This is the day we have been given. Let us rejoice in it and be glad. Go in peace, practice love. Amen.